Once you receive your secondary antibody, it's important to follow the manufacturer's instructions for storage. Make sure to protect the container from light by keeping it in a light-tight bag or covering it in aluminum foil. If you're using a LI-COR IRDye secondary antibody, store them at 4 degrees Celsius prior to reconstitution. You'll also only want to dilute them immediately prior to use. Make sure to store them at 4 degrees Celsius for their shelf life. The concentration of your secondary antibody must be optimized. When you're using a LI-COR IRDye secondary antibody, a good starting point is a 1 to 20,000 dilution. However, this may vary with other antibodies. Now, if you have a weak signal for your target protein, you may be tempted to just add more secondary antibody. However, in practice, when you use too much secondary antibody, you'll actually see an increase in the background for your membrane or the amount of non-specific binding. So in actuality, you will see less of your target protein. Once you've determined the optimal concentration for your secondary antibody, incubate your membrane for 1 hour at room temperature with gentle agitation. When adding your secondary antibody solution to your membrane, gently pour that solution down the inside of the incubation box rather than directly on top of the membrane. You also want to ensure that your membrane is completely covered by the secondary antibody solution. As we discussed with a primary antibody, it's important to consistently wash your membrane after probing with the secondary antibody. After incubation, rinse the membrane with PBST or TBST and then wash it 4 times for 5 minutes. You want to make sure you're using enough wash buffer to completely cover your blot. Now that you've finished probing your membrane with the secondary antibody, the next course we're going to discuss the detection of your target protein with an NIR imager. But first, Sally will show us how to probe your membrane with a secondary antibody in the lab.